Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Charlotte, and today we are going to discuss the fourth energy center, a brief introduction to it, if you don't already know what it's about. And it is the one which is midway in our body. So it's also known as the center of us. Yep, we're talking about your soul, the seat of your soul in your heart center. There is a belief that our soul lives within our heart. And we already know that neuroscience has proven that there are neurons not only in the brain, also in the gut and in the heart. You want to ask yourself, how are you feeding your heart center? You can look at it from a physical perspective, an emotional perspective, and cognitively. How are you feeding it? The same as you would do with any of the other energy centers. How are you feeding each of them? So your heart energy center is green, beautiful, spinning green. Take a deep breath in, breathe into your heart, and feel what happens to your energy. This is life force energy. It's the same area as your lungs in the body. It's green, it's about your flexibility in life, it's about circulation. And again, Ida and Pingala crossover as the Kundalini rises. And where is yours today? There's no quick fix. It's a process of life. As life happens to us from our root energy center, as we evolve, experience life, and it moves up and up, we change our thinking, we change our habits, our physical bodies change, our diets change. Life happens, which is what Kundalini rising is all about. Rising as we elevate our consciousness in each of the energy centers. So we have an experience, a life lesson, we learn from it, or we don't. And we've got to go through that lesson again and again and again. When we get to the heart energy centers, when our consciousness really shifts quite a bit. So when you're younger, we have a lot of ideas of what love actually is. Romantically, the love with a parent and a child, the love with our siblings. We think of love with animals, those that we love close and dear to us, how we relate to love, and where you're at in your life is how you relate to that. Now, what happens with the heart center, as with any of the other energy centers, when life experiences give us a less than a desirable, beautiful, perfect ending, as we know in an ideal world, we usually create little blockages in that space, and the memories sit there. So in our hearts, we often have times when our heart center would shut down emotionally because we have had an experience that makes us feel like we're going to get hurt again. So in the solar plexus, that was all about fear, how fear impacts that quite drastically, how our need for control impacts that. So in our heart energy center, what would happen to keep our hearts open? And life experiences here have a very different impact on your heart. And that's a choice because some life experiences are not so wonderful. And when they happen, we either shut down or our heart opens. So grief, for example, is a huge, big heart opener. Initially, the heart center would shut down in our grieving space, in our emotional body space. We usually shut down. But as we recognize the grief and the love that we felt, because grief is a side effect, if you want to call it that. It is a condition of unconditional love. So when grief happens, our heart then can open. Or you have a beautiful relationship and your heart just flies open. The reality is that we need to keep that clear and flexible in that space because unconditional is not so easy. It's easy to say. And I always ask the question, how do you say to someone, I love you, then stop loving them? How do they say to you, I love you, and then stop loving you? How do you say to your animals, I love you, when they do something that you don't particularly like, you stop loving them? It's not possible. when your heart center is open, because we have compassion and kindness as a benefit of this area. So when you are more balanced in your heart center, even though somebody may upset you or a situation may upset you, you are able to keep your heart center open to understand the balance in that space. Because without the one, you don't get the other. Without the one, you don't get the other. So without our heart shutting down, we don't understand, we don't appreciate when it fully opens. And it's different for everybody as to when it opens and how often it opens and closes in a day. Sitting in the traffic, you'll imagine it's very hard to keep your heart center open. But when you keep your heart center open, you're more at peace and more at harmony within. And to recognize that somebody else's stuff is their stuff, it's not yours. So the guys racing on the highway or the taxis jumping in and out will get an emotional response from you. And your heart then has an effect. It has an effect on your heart. And that is a stress reaction. And eustress is normal. For us, it's how we live. But when we take it on and we live it as if it's our own, is when you put added stress on your body. And that is when the heart center can shut down. Because when your heart center is open, it is easy to be compassionate and it is easy to check in our judgment. So our judgment kicks in the space of when our heart center closes, because judgment creates that close. Self-judgment, judgment for outside of ourselves. So as you can see, Kundalini rising takes us into a higher level of vibration, the consciousness of who we are, of how we show up in the world. So you want to ask yourself, where is my heart center today? Without judgment. Without judgment. Not so easy. It's all about balance. It's all about understanding yourself. And if you've understood from the previous energy centers we've worked with, you understood that your life experiences make up you, uniquely you, not everybody else, as everybody else's journey makes up them. And we have a responsibility to ourselves, to be accountable to ourselves for how we treat this body. And the energy centers usually show up when we're out of balance. So in this space, you want to ask yourself, how can I improve my circulation? How can I be more flexible? How can I keep my heart center open? And what is real love for me? What is absolute, pure, unconditional love for me? And it doesn't mean turning the other cheek, because if you follow the series, the solar plexus one is all about your boundaries, who you are. And the previous ones are all about your deal breaker values. So when your heart center, you want to ask yourself, how am I keeping my heart open and with its healthy boundaries? So usually when we do movement in this space to energize it, it's usually arm movements. So we are going to end the recording so I can answer questions and do a little movement. Depends on what you would like. Remember that hope lives in your heart. In the seat of your soul, that's where hope lives. So if you're struggling with kindness and compassion, ask yourself one question. How do I breathe hope into this environment, this space, into my heart? Let's do a quick meditation. Uncross hands and feet, arms. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath in, fill your belly with air. Only breathing through your nose. Breathing out. Breathing in again. Fill your belly, under your ribs, under your clavicle. And then release that breath, reversing it gently. Breathing in again. Release the breath. And on your next breath, breathe in and breathe into your heart. And look at that lovely green, the color of green. Is there density? Is there heartache? Is sadness? Is it spinning beautifully? Acknowledge what's there. It's all you. It's your life. How can you heal that space? breathing into each of those density areas, allowing them, acknowledging them, releasing the breath gently. Continue breathing in and out, focusing on the spinning in your heart center, the shade of green that it is, and what shade of green you'd like it to be. All you have to do is focus on that. Your affirmation here would be, I am compassionate. I am kind. I am living my truth in my heart. I allow my life experiences. And lifting your vibration, lifting your energy centers, breathing into them. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes. And looking, thinking, what's changed in your mind? What's changed in your heart? How's your energy center around you feeling? And very often, a note to remind yourself is that as you clear and you meditate on each energy center, and whether you energize it physically or not, as you do this for each of them, your environment will change. You will look at your environment differently. Your relationships will be different. The heart center is fundamental in feeding into the relationships in your life. Thank you. I'll take questions and we will stop the recording so we can do some physical movement. Feel free to reach out if you'd like to know more about the movements or have some questions.